Hello and welcome to the hoodie edition of the Q&A. I thought it would be a sick idea to create one. That's why I have this amazing hoodie. I'm just joking, I'm literally feeling incredibly sick. But I didn't want to let this month pass without sharing some of the thoughts that I have. And I will keep it very short, brief, so I will try to maintain my positivity as much as possible. And the first idea is that winners do quit. And I come from a long tradition of people who were thought, hey, you can never quit, no matter what, no matter how tough it is, no matter how much you hate it, how much you do not enjoy it. You do have to keep plowing through. You do have to keep on trying to finish the task that you started, or let's say the book that you started, because that's where I got this idea from. This month I read 3 books, and one of them was The Power of Now. Let's just say it this way: reading The Power of Now was incredibly demanding on me. It's written in a condescending manner, in a manner in which I didn't connect to, in a manner where the information wasn't flowing very well. So reading it was extremely tough for me. It's just a personal issue, right? So the book just didn't work for me. If you look on Goodreads, it has 4.1 stars, which is pretty good. Usually the books don't go over 4 stars. Very few do. So this is a book that's generally regarded as a great book. So why am I talking about this book? Because this is not a book review. This has nothing to do with it. I want to say that instead of quitting, instead of understanding, hey, this book is just not for me, it doesn't apply to me, I should just go read something else. Instead of doing that, I got fixated. I went and bought the audiobook. I went and tried, because there are so many people who said to me, hey, this book is the end all be all. Like, you need to read this book. You need to understand how to be more present. You need to understand everything from that book. And after reading it, obviously I compare it with Alan Watts, I compare it to meditations. Obviously they're not on the same level, I understand. Meditations is not trying to be a book about the present moment, and nothing in Stoicism tries to be about the present moment. But still there is the idea, which also you can find in Buddhism, that nothing else exists rather than the present. The past doesn't exist, the future is not given, the only thing that matters is right now, okay? And the book, for me, The Power of Now, could have been summarized in this 30 seconds introduction that I just made. So I kept on, and I was miserable for 2 days. Also, I was miserable because I paid for the audiobook, which I didn't enjoy. So when you don't necessarily jive with something, it would be great to just move on, to find something that works perfectly with you, works perfectly with the things that you want to achieve, with your strengths, with your personality traits, with the way that you are. We are wasting so much time and so many precious resources, brain power or attention or anything of that sort. We're wasting it on things that would not and will not help us, because if we don't internalize something, if we're not in the flow when we're doing it, it's not going to stick to us. So even if I managed to plow through that book, I got nothing out of it. And again, this is nothing against the book, it's something that, so I literally am not the person to read that book. It's just a mismanagement. I'm just not the person to read it. So this is why I said, hey, this might seem a bit negative or a bit cynical, but again, it has nothing to do with the book on itself. It just has to do with the fact that I kept trying to do something that I wasn't necessarily into, and I struggled with it, and as a consequence I had 2 really terrible evenings. So yeah, just quitting is the smartest thing to do when you realize that the thing that you're not doing is not the one for you. Obviously, if you must do something, for example, if you have to work through an entry-level job to get to a higher level in terms of, I don't know, maybe you're working in an IT department and you don't like doing tickets, but the next level will not have tickets and you will have your own team and whatnot. Yeah, obviously you have to stick through it and work 2 or 3 years, but now I'm just talking about trivial things that some other people recommend to you. I know recommendations are incredibly important. By the way, I'm reading Cialdini's Influence. Great book, amazing read. It will probably crack my top 20% of the books. I'm not sure. It's definitely over an 80 on my scale. So it's a book that can go really high. Because I didn't finish it, I cannot give it a mark. But yeah, incredible book. Second idea, and that's because we will probably go out of lockdowns quite soon. Make a budget. There are 3 things that you need to know in terms of personal finance, in terms of finance of any way. The first one is you have to know your shovel, which is your income. Then you have to know the depth of the hole, let's say, which is how much you have to repay, or what's getting out of your budget. And 3, you have to know how to do your taxes, because obviously you don't want any penalties on that area or of that sort. So those 3 things, if you got them right, you're set for life. Okay, so one of the most important things that will happen when things will reopen and when people will start rejoining life in the new hybrid form is that we will start spending money, which is great because money needs velocity. And this is, velocity is one of the measures that are measured inside the country's output, right? The GDP. It's the velocity of money. It's not just the money itself, but also the numbers of transactions. How many hands those money meet in their way. So with that in mind, it's very easy to overspend, it's very easy to go overboard, and I know that I did in this month. And obviously, again, due to health issues as well, that's a hefty bill always. But make a budget. My next video, and actually the video that was supposed to be aired this time, was on budgeting, but again, I want to do something really great for that one, so budgeting will be the next video, how to do a budget. Stay tuned for that one, but until then, make something that makes sense for you. Know all the categories in which money are flowing out of your account. The big ones, there are, 10, 15 categories. From the top of my head, car related expenses, house related expenses, utilities for the house. I choose to put mortgage/rent and utilities into separate buckets, and then you have something for going out if you want, something for entertainment. You have to have a bucket for food. You have to have a bucket from transportation other than your car or your gas, because sometimes you need to pick a taxi. And there are something for clothing and all of that sort. So there can be more categories. Any loans, if you have to repay them. I will talk a bit in depth in the next video, but for now, understand that one of the most important things that you can do when things will return to normal is to keep track of your budget and of your expenditures, of your expenses. That's what I meant. I'm not sure where expenditures come from. I'm not sure if that's even a word, but there's no time to edit. So there's that. So the third thing, and I really want to end this, I wouldn't say on a high note, because just talking takes a toll on me, but I want to say that it's way different than in previous years. Meeting with people after a long time is completely different, and as with any sort of skill, you have a natural inclination towards communication and towards speaking, but you also need to hone that skill, because if you would go for 5-10 years in a cave, you would find out that you wouldn't be as charismatic as before, you wouldn't be as open to communication as before. So have your targets set at the right level. Don't have this idea that you will go out and you will be the life of the party immediately. You need a bit of time to get back into the usual level of communication that we used to have before. And for that, the tip would be to just maintain a politeness, but also a straightforwardness, and always try to ask questions, to be mindful of the person that you're talking to be interested in that person, and obviously to listen a bit more than you're talking. And you will see that in the beginning, after you stop talking with people for quite a while, you will find that you have this need of always replying to what they said, to kind of following up and finishing their sentences. That's really annoying, and it will take a while to understand that you are in the mode where you're just trying to listen to somebody to find an answer and to just reply to them, and you're not listening to understand that person. And once you have that knowledge, once you understand that you're there, you will become more mindful, then you will try to empathize much better with that person, and then the communication level will increase. That's something that I think I discovered that's a hurdle, definitely, that you have and we have to pass this year. But those are 3 ideas that kind of marked my month, my January. So again, quitting makes sense in, I would say, more than half of the times, when you know that what you're doing is not what you're supposed to be doing, or when you're knowing that you're not doing something for the longer term. You will feel, you have those feelings of inadequacy inside you when you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing. I don't know what's there. I'm not a woo type. Again, I'm just not. I'm a cynical person. But still, there's no other way of explaining this, not explaining this logically or by some, saying science explains that, or there are researchers that are telling you this. No, I'm not claiming this. This is just anecdotal evidence, and take it with a pinch of salt, as always, because any anecdotes are just that, just stories that we tell. And then again, second thing and third thing are incredibly important as well. Keeping a budget, you should do that, especially when things will reopen. And communication, just be patient with yourself and patient with the others, because as you're struggling, the others are struggling as well, and we need a bit of time to come back to normal. So with that in mind, I'm really looking forward to feeling much better when I'm filming the next one. Thank you so much for listening to this one, and we'll see each other again soon.